Hello and welcome to History for Weirdos.
We're your hosts, Andrew
and Stephanie.
And each week, we're going to take you on a journey into the strange, obscure, and relentlessly entertaining corners of human history.
Now listen up, friends, because it's about to get weird. Hi, Weirdos. It's Stephanie.
And Andrew.
And this is episode number 20 of History for Weirdos.
Woohoo! We made it!
20,
the big 20.
Yeah, it's been so fun researching and writing and sharing stories with you all.
Yes, it has been. And I definitely like this milestone. It comes in a time of pure, historical significance.
Absolutely. We're living through history right now.
I know, so much is going on.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep little notes in my journal, even if it's just a couple lines of what's been going on, because this is definitely a time we will look back on.
Yes. You know what? I've always thought it would be really cool to tell our grandkids, be like, back in the year 2020, this is everything that happened.
Oh my God.
I hope you guys liked my old person voice.
I did. I loved it.
Thank you.
And speaking of history,
yes,
what episode or what story are you telling us today for episode 20?
Oh, this is my turn?
Yeah.
Oh. No, I'm just kidding. I got you, fam. Okay, so I actually have a really cool story today. It's about a very significant person in Black history, actually.
Okay.
And she is known as Madam C.J. Walker, and
yes.
She was not only the first, Black female millionaire in the United States, she was the first female millionaire in the United States, and one of the first Black millionaires in the United States, regardless of male or female.
So she's I've obviously heard the name before in school and stuff, but she's a huge person in just American history in general.
Yes, absolutely. The fact that she was able to be so entrepreneurial and coming from such disadvantages, she really embodies the American spirit of, rags to riches.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And also not only that, just from an entrepreneurial and business perspective, I was fascinated by her.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, she had really cool business techniques.
I want to learn more. Go ahead and tell me about Madam C.J. Walker.
Before I get into her, I'm going to just cite my sources or else I'll forget.
Okay.
You know me. So my sources were biography.com, womenshistory.org, Madam C.J. Walker's personal website, actually.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Is it run by her family or something?
I think
her
so,
descendants?
yeah.
That's so cool.
Or just, some sort of foundation that covers it. And then also history.com and, of course, Wikipedia.
Awesome.
So who was Madam C.J. Walker?
Tell me.
Like I had said, she was the first female millionaire in the United States. And she invented, and how she became a millionaire was she invented a line of African American hair products for women, and this came about because she actually was suffering from a scalp ailment that resulted in her own hair loss.
Is it alopecia or alopecia?
Actually, I don't know. No, I didn't. It didn't really say.
Oh, okay.
But regardless, she saw a problem that afflicted herself and then others, and was like, "Oh, let me create something to help alleviate that problem."
That's
how many businesses start.
Exactly. That's the entrepreneurial key and back then, around what time was this?
So this was the turn of the century.
There were definitely no mainstream hair care products for Black women.
Oh, no, absolutely not. She had...
so there's a huge gap in the market.
Absolutely. There was only, really one product before her.
Oh, my God. That's such a shame.
So, yeah. And for, the entire country. And what's cool is, she promoted her products by traveling around the country, giving lecture demonstrations, and eventually established the Madam C.J. Walker Laboratories to manufacture cosmetics and train sales beauticians.
Oh my God.
So not only did she invent a really cool product, and I'll get into this later, but she also pioneered a new way of sales, creating new sales channels.
That's amazing. I'm sure you'll get into it, but I'm just thinking she literally went to her customers.
Yes.
To explain why this would solve their problems.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. It was really dope. her entrepreneurial spirit led her, like I said, to be the first American woman to be a self-made millionaire. However, I need to caveat this by saying there might have been others before her, but, there's, asterisks like, they might have inherited a ton of money.
I see.
Or, we're not really sure about their wealth because this, again, this was would have been 19th century, and it's hard to gauge,
And I don't think people documented women's lives as much as they documented men's.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So there would probably be hard to tell was she from wealth? Was she not? Was she self-made? A lot of people probably weren't keeping records about that
absolutely
stuff.
not. So she also was known for her many philanthropic endeavors as well. She funded scholarships for women at the Tuskegee Institute and donated large parts of her wealth to the NAACP and included a very large donation towards the construction of an Indianapolis YMCA.
Oh my God, what a badass.
Yeah, she's really cool. So she's primarily known for her business endeavors, but her philanthropic endeavors and political activism as well were pretty huge.
Oh my God. I didn't know that at all.
I'll get more into that later, but it's really cool stuff.
At this point, I just want to say that if you had asked me, can you tell me about Madam C.J. Walker, I would have just said that she created a product and became a millionaire.
I learned a lot doing research. That's what I thought as well, too.
Yeah, there's definitely so much more to her.
There's a lot more.
Oh, she's an empire builder. That's what I want to say.
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah. She's an empire builder.
That's so cool.
I cannot be stressed enough. She built an empire, and it's really fascinating.
Okay.
It's good stuff. So, and also, I kind of mentioned this, but doesn't hurt, it's worth repeating at least. She also used her position to advocate for the advancement of Black Americans and for an end to lynching.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
But she got to a place of, some privilege and power just by her enterprises and the money. Money always comes with weight, obviously. I love that she didn't just think of herself. She wasn't like, okay, cool, I'm good now.
Yes.
She really thought about her community.
Absolutely.
And making this country better. That's amazing.
I know, really cool. So let's go. We're going to take a big step back and talk about her early life.
Okay.
So Madam C.J. Walker was born as Sarah Breedlove on December 23rd, 1867.
What?
Yeah, so her name was actually Sarah Breedlove. I'll get into why she's Madam C.J. Walker in a little bit.
Okay.
Her parents, Owen and Minerva, Harry Potter fans. Yes.
Her mom's Minerva McGonagall?
Exactly. That would be an ultimate plot twist right there.
We're such nerds.
So, her parents were Louisiana sharecroppers who had been born into slavery.
Oh my God.
And so what's worth noting here is that Madam C.J. Walker was born just after the Civil War. So just a couple years after the Civil War and a few years after the Emancipation Proclamation. So she was born free, kind of like the very first generation to be born free. I mean, and just barely.
Oh my God.
So she might not have known slavery, but she knew
her family knew the trauma of
exactly.
it. Yeah, the direct trauma of that.
Right. And, she was the fifth child, and like I said, was the first of her family. So she had older sisters that were born into, or older siblings that were born into slavery. She was the first one not.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so she was the fifth one.
Even her siblings.
Yeah, were born into slavery, but she was not.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was unfortunately orphaned at 6 years of age, and she married at 14 to a Moses McWilliams, with whom she had a daughter, Alila, at the age, in 1885. I think it was at the age of 18.
I wonder if it was because that was common, or she...
Yeah, it was hard. It was kind of there was something... She got married to escape abuse. There wasn't a lot into, why,
what type of abuse?
Exactly.
Or who was the perpetrator?
But because she ended up being married, she escaped her abuse. And from all accounts, this man, her first husband, seemed like he was a good man. So, which was nice.
That's, historically for women in general, that's so common. I don't know if you heard Andrew's back crack. That was really loud. That's so commonly what marriage was. It afforded you protection.
Right.
To different degrees. So it sounds like she was for her, it sounds like she was in a more immediately dangerous situation that she needed to get out of.
Yes. And luckily, she met a nice guy, and
she got that protection for the time.
Right, but unfortunately, he died when she was 20 with
What?
a 2-year-old daughter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, it's nuts. So
This woman.
after Moses' death, I know Sarah and Alila, I really don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but I apologize, to anyone who actually does know how to pronounce that.
It sounds pretty.
Yeah, Lila. They moved to St. Louis, where Sarah's brothers had actually established themselves as barbers, and there Sarah found work as a washerwoman, and she only earned $1.50 a day.
Oh my God.
But it was enough to send her daughter to the city's public schools. But $1.50 a day. I don't know what that is in inflation, in today's terms, but it's probably still not a whole lot of money.
No. Do you know if she went to elementary school and public school?
No, I doubt it.
I doubt it, yeah.
It didn't say anything, but I don't think she had any sort of education, formal or otherwise.
Wow.
Yeah, which makes her story even more insane. So let's get into her foray into business. So during the 1890s, Sarah developed the scalp disorder, like I had mentioned earlier, that caused her to lose a lot of her hair. And so she began to experiment with both home remedies and store-bought hair care treatments in an attempt to improve her condition.
Yeah.
And from what I read, it didn't really work out that well.
Aww.
Mixed results. So also during this time, she was married to a man named John Davis, and it was not a happy union. I couldn't find much about him, but we do know they were married for 9 years, and they divorced in 1903.
Okay.
So, and he wasn't super consequential.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Something I'm thinking of with the hair loss, because she would have been young, losing hair. She had experienced so much trauma, and I don't know how much they knew then, but we know now how much stress in the body has to physically manifest somehow. I wonder if it was just sort of the manifestation of everything she'd been through and survived.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Was her hair loss, which at the time, obviously, in the moment, that must feel so shitty, such a confidence thing, a vanity thing. But it's that shitty thing that will eventually get her big break.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool.
She really turned lemons into lemonade, huh?
Yeah.
So in 1905, she was hired as a commission agent by Annie Turbo Malone. First of all, I love that name. Annie Turbo Malone, attorney at law.
Oh my God.
Gangsta. I don't know, I can't really decide which one. Maybe both.
Both, definitely.
She was a successful black hair care product entrepreneur, and she moved to Denver, Colorado to work for her.
Okay.
And that same year, she married Ad Man, is what they called him. So I guess he was an advertisement.
So that was the nickname for him?
Yeah, he was an ad man.
Ad
yeah,
man.
I'm an ad man. Kind of it may have reminded me of the Mad Men of the 1960s.
Oh, yes, he would definitely be ad man.
Yeah, this was decades before, half century plus before. Yeah, so in 1905, she married ad man Charles Joseph Walker, and she renamed herself Madam C.J. Walker.
Why? Just because it sounds
it sounds badass.
Dope?
Yeah. And with $1.25, she launched her own line of hair products and straighteners for African American women. And the name of it was Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower. $1.25 freaking cents.
She turned $1.25 into an empire?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's the goal.
That's that. I know. I was I saw that. I'm like,
dreams.
dude, she is, and I mean this in the most upbeat and only positive way possible. She was a hustler.
Yeah.
She was I am reading about her. I was just enthralled by her. She was incredible.
I can't. Who does that?
Yeah. I don't know. I certainly couldn't do that.
Who experiences that much adversity and then turns it around beyond probably what anyone at the time would have expected?
Yes.
No one could have imagined. Maybe she obviously was really savvy and intelligent, so people, oh yeah, Madam C.J. Walker's super smart. Her business will do well. Mm-hmm. No one could have imagined how well it would do.
No, absolutely not. What's cool is she marketed herself as an independent hairdresser and retailer of cosmetic creams. Mm-hmm. Splitting herself off from Annie Turnbo Malone. So yeah, sorry, I said Turbo earlier, but it was Turnbo.
That sounds like a made-up name.
It does.
That plus Ad Man just sounds like this is a comic or something.
Yes, I know, like a comic from like the 1920s when they have like the funny voices.
Yeah.
So her husband, who was also her business partner, had provided advice on, of course, advertising and promotion.
That he should.
As
would
he should.
expect so.
Yeah, and
Ad Man.
Sarah sold her products door to door, teaching other women how to groom and style their hair. So not only did she sell the product, she actually, and this is like what's taught in business schools like now.
Okay.
It's like she sold there's just the product where you get the money, but then also as you're buying the product, you're getting like free, quote unquote, like add-on services.
Oh.
So like, the free education on how to use it and like how to style your hair to make it look better, whatever.
That's so crazy because like in all the businessy podcasts and stuff that I've listened to or YouTube channels, whatever, that's like advice that people give now is like, you want to give freebies with your product.
Mm-hmm. And she did this like 100 years before now, 100 plus.
That is crazy.
Yeah, how cool is that?
I have a quick question about her product, actually. I don't know if you know this. So this idea for hair care products for black women, for African-American hair, came from her hair loss. Yeah. So I was going to ask, is this product just like a styling product or is it a hair growth product?
I think it was both.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So, again, like, I mean... I don't know.
Of course, that's like me asking. I'm like, what was the product?
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. It's like over 100 years ago. But obviously it worked because it did super well.
Yes.
So, okay, back to the story here. So, and this is a quick aside. Madame was adopted from women pioneers of the French beauty industry. So she kind of marketed herself in that like French like hoity-toity lens.
No, they were, and often still are, like the standard for beauty products.
Yes. So, in 1906, Walker put her daughter in charge of the mail order operation.
What?
Yes, mail order operation. This, again, 1906. Mail order operation. Which, that type of operation lasted for, like, through the 80s and 90s even.
Oh my, I remember.
Maybe even early 2000s. I don't know, but maybe old people still do it.
I remember, like, getting catalogs and, like, trying to convince my parents to let me mail order stuff.
They started that in 1906.
Holy.
So, and that was, they had set up headquarters in Denver, while they were still living there. And, and her daughter, Alelia, did that while she and her husband traveled throughout the southern and eastern United States to expand their business.
Mm-hmm. I love that her family went all in with her.
Yeah, I know. Pretty cool, huh? Mm-hmm. So, in 1908, Walker and her husband relocated to Pittsburgh, and they opened up a beauty parlor and established the Leela College to train hair culturists.
Wow.
Yeah. So, again, like, it kind of expanding upon just the product. They're really making it into a lifestyle, a brand.
Holy
She did this over 100 years ago, and this is now just starting to be taught in like MBA programs.
Yeah.
Like maybe the last 10 years or so. Pretty freaking cool.
I'm floored.
I know. So, and as an advocate of black women's economic independence, she opened training programs in what was marketed as the quote-unquote Walker system for her national network of licensed sales agents.
She created her own system to train people.
System. And she was very nice because there was a little script on this that said like the sales people earn very healthy commissions off their sales. So she was very generous with her employees, it sounded like, too.
Yeah, well, that tends to be, what we see in research, how women are as business owners, actually.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, and especially for her, like, coming from just probably, like, severe poverty to, like...
a family that had been enslaved.
Yeah, her parents were enslaved. Her older siblings had been enslaved. And, now she's kicking ass.
And she's kicking ass. She's got the wealth, and she wants to spread the wealth.
Yes, it's really, really cool.
Damn.
So, in 1910, Walker established a new base in Indianapolis, and you'll see that's a theme. She kind of, like, established she's very like me. I feel like she like is like, okay, I'm over this place. Now let's move to another place. Okay, I'm over it. Now let's move to this other place.
Yes.
Kind of shiny object syndrome a little bit.
She likes newness.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Definitely. And so Alila at this time also persuaded her mother to establish an office and beauty salon in New York City's growing Harlem neighborhood in 1913 because she had the foresight of seeing this is going to be like an epicenter of black culture.
Yep, and it was.
And she was right. It was a very good bet, obviously. So between 1911 and 1919, during the height of her career, Walker and her company employed several thousand women as sales agents for its products.
I just love that the independence she gave all these women, the freedom.
It's so cool.
It's so amazing.
So by 1917, the company claimed to have trained nearly 20,000 women.
Holy shit.
Yes. Dressed in a characteristic uniform of white shirts and black skirts and carrying black satchels. They visited houses around the United States and in the Caribbean.
What?
Yes, offering Walker's hair pomade and other products packaged in tin containers, carrying her image.
Oh my God, she is the queen of branding.
Yes, freaking queen of branding. We'll post a picture of like some of her products on our Instagram.
With her, yeah,
tomorrow. But yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Oh my God.
Yes.
She's just so ahead of her time. I'm so amazed.
She really was. Like the more I read about it, I'm like, oh my God, this is taught in business schools now. Like this is taught. Like she was a pioneer. And the fact that like we don't know, like the mainstream, educational system hasn't taught a whole lot about her is like, one, it's unsurprising, but two, it's also like baffling at the same time.
It's unsurprising and baffling. I agree.
So Walker understood the power of advertising and brand awareness. Obviously.
Yes, obviously.
Heavy advertising, primarily in African American newspapers and magazines, in addition to Walker's frequent travels to promote her products, helped make Walker and her products well known in the United States and obviously the Caribbean as well.
Wow.
Pretty dope.
I bet if she were alive today, I bet she'd eventually like parlay that into like those high performance business coaches.
Oh yeah.
Because it sounds like she's really just good at business.
Incredibly good.
I was thinking, I was like, I would hire her as a business coach.
Yeah, me too. If I could afford her, she'd probably be so much. You'd probably charge like absurd amounts of money because she could.
She'd
probably at least like $10,000 an hour.
Also, getting back to the fact that you said she probably didn't have a formal education, I love at all. Yeah, what I love about entrepreneurship is that so much of it can be instinctual and going with your gut, and you don't need a formal education.
That's a really good point, actually, and that's absolutely true. And she kind of, it's almost like it would, for her, it might have been even a hindrance, like a formal education.
Yeah. Oh,
she was able to think on her feet. Like she had like a blank slate and was like, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
Really cool. So, let's see here. Unfortunately, though, some bad news finally. In 1913, our girl, Sarah, or Madam C.J. Walker, unfortunately got a divorce from her now ex-husband, Charles. We don't know a whole lot why, but it seemed like it was amicable.
Okay.
On the bright side, though, she also got to travel the Caribbean for years to promote and expand her business while teaching her method.
That's amazing.
I know. So, she did that for like years, too. During this time, Alila established the business presence in Harlem because her intuition told her that black culture would explode there.
Which it did. Art, music, poetry.
And that became kind of like the epicenter. So in 1916, upon returning from her travels, Walker moved to her new townhouse in Harlem. And from there, she would continue to operate her business while leaving the day-to-day operations of her factory in Indianapolis to its forelady. Forelady, not even for men.
Oh my God, babe, that's a good catch. I didn't catch that.
Yes. Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
She was really into hiring women.
And I'm assuming, like, I didn't know, like, who that was, but I'm assuming it was probably, like, a black woman that she had trained, like, early on.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, she kind of became, like, the general manager of that plant.
I wonder if you can visit her home in Harlem.
Yes.
Oh, you can?
Yes, I think you can.
That's awesome.
I'll get into, like, more of her stuff in a little bit, especially, like, her houses and legacy, but I'm pretty sure that you can.
Yeah, because when we go, I would love to see it.
I would, too.
Yeah.
So let's like kind of switch gears a little bit and move over to her activism. Mm-hmm. So Walker quickly immersed herself in the social and political culture of the Harlem Renaissance.
Hell yeah.
She founded actually philanthropic endeavors, that included educational scholarships and donations to homes for the elderly, the NAACP, and the National Conference on Lynching, among other organizations focused on improving the lives of African Americans.
Wow.
Yeah. So she did a lot with her wealth.
Yeah.
She really did. Like, she parlayed that wealth into, really cool stuff.
Into shaping American history.
Yeah, I know. She also donated the largest amount of money by an African American towards that construction of the Indianapolis YMCA in 1913.
That's so cool.
Because it was weird. Like, I kept on reading, like, all these articles. They're like, they made such a big deal on this, like, YMCA. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. But, like, why are they making such a big deal? And then I read that line. I was like, oh, that's why it's such a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So... And also, what's cool is, like, during her, activism days, she had really cool and influential friends like Booker T. Washington, Mary McLeod Bethune, and Webb Du Bois.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, like early pioneers of, like, civil rights as well.
Also, I think it's W-E-B.
Yeah, I know. It is W-E-B, but I like calling him Webb. Webb.
Damn, so they were all hanging out together.
Yes.
That's so crazy. I always think, like, you forget that historical figures, like, lived at the same time.
Yeah.
And all knew each other. I don't know. It really humanizes them to think of them, like, sitting around at the dinner table and talking about how to, like, be badasses. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I know. We're like, hey, let's just, like, change the course of American history.
Okay, yeah. Like, can you also pass the salt? Yeah, sure.
That's amazing. So, again, like this is also during the time of World War I. And Walker was a leader in, and I apologize in advance, but the name of this group was the Circle for Negro War Relief. Uh-huh. And she was a leader in that and advocated for the establishment of a training camp for black army officers.
What?
Yeah, so
what wasn't she involved in?
I know. I was like, dude, this woman's insane. She's just like, it's like boom, 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 boom.
I bet she had like a freaking like Mark Wahlberg schedule. Like, wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Like, workout 1, like, first breakfast, and then, like, do other things. Like, and this is all before 6 a.m.
Run my empire. Run my philanthropies.
Yes. Second breakfast. Like, workout number 2. Freaking Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg and Madam C.J. Walker.
I know, seriously. But she's like, get up at like 4 a.m, start making like sales calls to like Europe. I don't know. I'm just making this up, but like, it's really cool.
Like, you have to have such like clear focus to get all of this done. I'm like amazed because I do not have clear focus on
I don't either.
Anything. I'm very jealous.
I know, me too. I really wish I had this much of a drive.
I bet she was an upholder.
Oh, she absolutely was an upholder.
Mm-hmm.
I think she definitely upheld, like, not only, like, her outside expectations, but yeah.
Yeah, upholder is, it's a personality category thing by Gretchen Rubin. For those of you that don't know, I love to, like, guess people's, like, type.
That is the therapist in you for sure.
Yeah, there's upholder, questioner, rebel, and obliger. I'm a rebel. Andrew's a questioner, aka Andrew's super annoying. I'm really cool.
I like the facts. I like data analysis.
I like the facts. I like data.
That does make me sound like really fun.
But check it out. You guys can just like Google. Gosh, what does she call them? Oh, the four tendencies.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. I prefer vanilla Coke, by the way.
Okay.
I haven't had one of those in like 10 years. So.
I haven't had anyone jinx me in like 10 years. So I will happily give you that vanilla Coke.
Am I 8 or 28?
Oh.
That's a good question, actually.
I vote 8.
Probably.
But yeah, so like upholders, just for the reference, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter is like the quintessential upholder.
Oh my god, she's so annoying.
It's the type of person, and it sounds like Madam C.J. Walker is like this as well, that they set a goal, like they set a New Year's resolution, and then they actually meet that New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Weird. And then other people have expectations for them, like deadlines or times to meet or whatever, and they always meet those expectations as well.
Yes.
Very strange. I'm a rebel, so I'm literally
You're the exact
opposite.
opposite.
I don't meet my expectations. I don't meet anyone else's.
Yeah, and you're the one who says, I'm difficult.
Yeah, I must be super fun to be married to. But back to your story.
Back to my story. I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is where we are. So we're in the middle of World War I. She establishes the Circle for Negro War Relief. Training, establishing a training camp for Black Army officers. Then it also, and again, this is during World War I, but not really related to it, she joined the executive committee of the New York chapter for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or also known as the NAACP.
Mm-hmm. Donate to them.
Yes.
Follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, they're really cool. Mm-hmm. So, and this chapter organized the silent protest parade on New York City's Fifth Avenue.
Wow.
The public demonstration drew more than 8,000 African Americans to protest a riot in East St. Louis that killed 39 Black people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't even actually know about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never ever heard of this. I mean, again, unsurprisingly, that's why, last episode we did Sally Hemings. Today I'm really happy you did Madam C.J. Walker. We just haven't learned enough about Black history, which is American history.
Yeah.
African Americans here in this country and around the world, this is everyone's history.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love learning all this stuff that isn't very often told.
No, absolutely not. For our listeners abroad, mm-hmm. American history literally just, when we get to cover Black history, it's literally like, oh, slavery.
Yeah.
That's what it starts off with.
Yep.
And it's like, oh boy.
That's our public schooling right there.
Yeah, put slavery, and then there's a certain highlights. There's Martin Luther King, and that's pretty much it.
They really quickly gloss over Jim Crow, just so that they can get to MLK, and then they're like, and he was super peaceful and chill, and we like him, and then he died. Anyway, back to white history.
Yeah, that's pretty much Black history. It's slavery, MLK.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Jim Crow.
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick, and. Yeah, not really cool. And also, for our American listeners, you guys can obviously attest to this as well.
Yeah. We're not given... There's not... they never go deep into any one person.
No.
Who, Madam C.J. Walker, she contributed to everything. Literally, she helped train soldiers. Her money helped train people.
I know. And it's just... honestly, I'm kind of just, at a loss for words, because this is something that should definitely be taught, and it's not.
What did she not do?
I know. Hashtag revitalize our educational system.
Yes, please.
Ugh. Anyways, so you mentioned her house earlier, and now I have a whole section on her house.
Oh my God, okay, good.
Well, but this is actually a little different. So she had her townhouse in Harlem, which was really cool. I imagine it's probably one of those really maybe it was one of those what do they call them in New York City? Those the brick houses, or
what do they call them? We're such California.
We're such, because we don't have these in LA or anywhere in Southern California.
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. They have you walk up. It's like we're carrying
a brownstone.
Brownstone.
A brownstone.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a brownstone.
I can imagine it was a cool brownstone or something.
With a fire escape and everything.
But she had a way cooler house.
Okay.
So Walker built what was called an Italianate mansion called the Villa Lewaro.
Oh.
The Villa Lewaro.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah.
She built herself a villa?
She built herself a villa.
That is literally...
It makes me like her even more, because it's
that's actually our dream.
Yes.
Whoever's listening to this, we fantasize all the time, about building a villa.
Yeah.
She did it?
She did it.
Damn.
So it was definitely, it was cool. There was definitely some, Roman throwbacks on, respect.
Absolutely.
And then it was designed by Vertner Tandy, and she was an accomplished African-American architect.
In every aspect of her life, she freaking lifts up her community.
Yes.
That's so impressive.
Cool. So the Villa Lewaro,
Oh my God.
was a gathering place for many luminaries of the Harlem Renaissance, and was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1976.
Where is it?
So it's 20 miles, I think, north of New York City. So I think it's upstate New York.
Okay.
Yeah. but like
That's
a
so
Roman
cool.
like villa.
In upstate New York
I know.
somewhere.
I'm like, oh my God, you're so cool. And a fun fact is like it's actually like a cooler looking version, honestly, than like the Prince of Bel-Air house.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So like big pillars in the front,
Yeah,
like the columns.
giant like Corinthian columns in the front. I think they're Corinthian. Don't quote me on that. But like really cool looking.
That is literally the dream, like to build a gorgeous villa and then just have all of your super like cool, smart, successful friends come and hang out and party and bullshit and party and be super cool and smart and take over the world.
I know. It's so dope.
Wow.
So
Now I'm like, first I was like riding high off of like how cool she is, and now I'm like, oh wow, I'm not that cool.
I'm like, no, I know. And like she was born to like people who were like slaves, and her enslaved people, excuse me. And then like her like older siblings were literally like enslaved themselves.
And she built herself a villa.
Yeah.
Damn.
A Roman villa in upstate New York.
Okay.
Not jealous, not jealous.
Yeah, we're not jealous at all.
So her death and her legacy. So Walker unfortunately died of hypertension on May 25th, 1919 at the age of 51 in her villa.
Oh my God, she was really young.
She was very young, 51 years old. And unfortunately, which sucks, is like hypertension is such a preventable disease now.
I don't think it's preventable. I think it's very treatable.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean preventable, treatable.
Maybe it's, I don't know a ton about it, but yeah, like.
It might be preventable, but it's definitely treatable, is what I meant to say. So Walker left 1/3 of her estate to her daughter, and who would actually also become well known as an important part of the Harlem Renaissance herself.
Really?
Yeah. And also the last 2/3 of it to just various charities.
What?
Yes. Walker's funeral took place at Villa Lowaro, and she was buried at the Woodlawn Cemetery in Bronx, New York.
Yeah.
So in 1981, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company ceased operations.
Okay.
What
year again? I'm sorry.
1981.
I was like, wait a second. That's
So
a really
it still
long time.
lasted like a very long time after her death. Like for another like 60 plus years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You know, and actually what's crazy is that actually a line of cosmetics and hair care products bearing her name is actually available at Sephora today.
What?
To this day. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know
So
that.
in a way
I
it
love
still
Sephora.
survived. Yeah. So in a way it still survived, so which is cool.
Her legacy still survives.
Yeah. It's pretty dope.
That's so cool.
Yes.
Damn.
So, and also there was a Netflix miniseries that came out this year that stars Octavia Spencer as
yes.
Madam C.J. Walker. I heard some interesting things about that, though, that it wasn't super historically accurate.
Okay.
But, you know, still kind of like probably gets the gist of it.
Right.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'd like
we
to
should
just
totally watch it.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to watch it just to see if it's kind of even remotely accurate.
Do the super fun like thing of pointing out historical inaccuracies when we watch
Oh
stuff.
my God, we do that all the time.
Yeah, or when we watch the Harry Potter movies and we point out what's different from the books. We're very fun to watch movies with, guys. We're not obnoxious at all. Yes, let's do that.
Yes. So also there was a lot of documentaries, you know, in addition to that, you know, throughout the years, starting in like the 80s, I think, about her life as well. And, you know, the last point I want to make is she embodied the American dream of like literal rags to riches. And I thought it was so cool. And I had such an honor, and I was so interested in just reading about her. It was just a really cool and amazing story.
She's an American icon.
So cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for teaching us about Madam C.J. Walker.
I mean, I learned so much. Like,
I did
she was
too.
even cooler than I thought she was.
She sounds like a freaking force of nature. I think I said that earlier, but I just can't imagine. She passed away, obviously, tragically young. She accomplished so much in such a short amount of time.
She was the quintessential weirdo.
Yeah.
She was the
She would have been
weirdo.
such a weirdo in her time. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
I
People,
love it.
as a woman and then as a black woman, like that, to this day, people don't respect women. And she's someone that definitely would have commanded respect at the time.
Yes. And, you know, I'm just rereading my notes right now, and, you know, she started her business in 1905 with $1.25 and died 14 years later. And in that 14 years, created an empire. She was not like a business person. She was an empire builder.
I bet she could have done so much more.
Yeah, and imagine just also her activism. Imagine if she didn't die. She like continued her operations and then focused more and more of her time
on her philanthropic
on her
endeavors.
philanthropic and political activism. She could have done probably a lot more.
Wow.
And then obviously leaving the business in the capable hands of her daughter,
who also very forward thinking. She kept calling it like Harlem's the place to be. Harlem's the place to be, and she was right.
I know she was. Yeah, Madam C.J. Walker was so lucky to have a daughter that was so business savvy and forward thinking.
It's because like she modeled that for her.
Yeah.
So much of how we see the world is how like a parent models it for us. And imagine just being like, oh, the sky's the limit. Like I can literally do anything. My mom literally does everything.
Yes.
That's so cool. What a beautiful legacy.
I know. Really cool stuff.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, weirdos, that was episode 20. Thank you so much for being here, for listening. Please keep in touch with us. You can do so on Instagram at History for Weirdos. If you haven't already, rate and leave a comment or not a comment, a review.
Yes.
Be kind. Be gentle.
Be kind. Rewind.
Yes. Because it helps other folks find the podcast, and we absolutely love making this for you. And if you have any weirdo history stories that you would like to share with us, please email us at historyforweirdos@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, that's it then.
All right. Goodbye, weirdos.
Adios, weirdos.